Hey, everyone, Johnson. I got this good and got this good all the time. My name is J. Spirits. I'm going to give you a little shout news, a little update, and a word on tonight. Israel. Israel has been updated. So Israel officially are not, backing down after the single deadly day for Israel defense focus since the war began in October. So has been ambush that took lives on 9 Israel soldiers in Gaza City early this week. So fighting continued across the Palestine territory with only limited safety zone left along the border with Egypt. So they still fight. And Israel, they're not backing down. They're not backing down. They're going to constantly keep on trying to get those hostages out from under Hezbollah. And we just going to keep on praying that them hostages are safe. They will come out safe. So, and we're going to try to make sure this don't happen again. We're going to get much security as possible, by the border. So and I do have a word for you tonight. Now, Jesus healed a sick woman, but a touch from Jesus had made her heal, and she also had faith, Luke chapter 8, 40 through 56. Now, so as Jesus was on his way, the crowd also crushed him. So and a woman was there who had been suffering to bleed for 12 years, but no one could heal her. So this woman she been bleeding for 12 years. She been to every doctor she can, but no one could not find out what's wrong with this woman. And she was spending all that she had until her research started running dry. Until she heard that Jesus was coming in town. And then she allowed her faith to move. She allowed the words that come out of her mouth, lead her to Jesus. So now this woman has suffered for 12 years. No one could not find what was wrong with this woman. So she realized that Jesus can heal her. Jesus can be the doctor, the Lord. He can be anything we need him to be. And I know she wish she can could have found Jesus a long time ago, because she suffered for 12 years. Now she came up behind him, and touched the edge of his coat. Immediately the bleeding had stopped. Now that's power. That's power. She been bleeding for 12 years, and all it took was a touch. But she just don't realize when she spoke those words, if only I can touch the hem of his clothes. Her faith allowed her to be healed. And she didn't realize before she even touched Jesus. Because he went up to God. And God allowed her to be healed. Before she even touched Jesus. That's why they say words are very powerful. Words can help you, and the words can condemn you. That I'm talking to myself too. We have to watch the words that come out of our mouth. You know. And so that's just like God. God created the world just by speaking. Let there be light. Let there be animals. He created the whole world just by speaking. And she spoke the words only if I could touch the hem of his clothes. So this woman was persuaded in her own mind if she could not touch if she could touch the hem of his clothes, now Christ, that she would be healed. She spoke the words, and immediately her issue of blood had stopped. It not only stopped, it dried up. From that touch, from her having a strong faith. So now this woman has spoke words in her mind, and a lot of times it says stop overthinking. Only if it's positive words. If it's something positive you constantly thinking, just keep on thinking it in your mind. A lot of times we keep thinking it in our mind, it will come true. So she kept rehearsing it in her mind. Only if I can touch Jesus' clothes, I can be healed. And she had faith. You know, her faith, her faith had led her to touch Jesus, and she was healed. You know, now who? And so after she had touched Jesus, Jesus knew someone touching. Okay, he felt something, releasing from him. So he said, "Who had touched me?" He said, "Who touched me?" And Jesus had asked, and when they all denied, he had his disciples around him, he was in the crowd, and so he asked who touched him. He said, everyone denied. He even had Peter with him. And Peter said, "Master, the people or the crowd pressing against you." So he told us the people in the crowd. It may be one of them touching you. So Jesus knows someone had touched him, and he felt like some power, had left him, to discover her to the people in a cure that she had received as well as her faith. See, your faith is very important. It's like when I talk about the other day. Your faith is very important. You got to have faith in a stone. And you got to have hope, but you got to keep that hope alive. You hoping for something to come true. You hoping for God to give you something. And you got to keep that hope alive. You got to have a strong faith. She had received as well as her faith. So now this woman had went so many years to so many doctors, but no one could not heal this woman, and she needed, was a touch. All she needed was a touch from Jesus, 12 years from bleeding, and you going from doctor to doctor, all you needed was a touch. So all she needed was a touch, and Jesus who touched, so disciples, so he said, who touched him? Everybody denied. He had the disciples around him. And they stated it may be the crowd who touched you. But Jesus said, someone touched me and I know the power had gone from me. Because Jesus got power. So he can feel when a power is being released. So Jesus had knew who had touched him. He felt her touch of faith. Because, Jesus reads your heart. He know your faith. In her, she was desperate. I'd be desperate too, for 12 years you bleeding, and then you went to every doctor and no doctor couldn't tell you what's wrong. And nobody couldn't tell you what was wrong, and all it takes for Jesus to come in your neighborhood. It's good to have a Jesus in your neighborhood, intention to be healed, but Jesus had wanted the woman to stop forward and identify herself, because see, he started asking, who touched me? The disciples said, ain't nobody touch you, Master. But he knew he wanted that woman to come forward. He wanted that woman to come forward, to let her slip away. He didn't want her to slip away, because she was trying to be unnoticed. And she was going to slip away for Jesus to touch her, touch his clothes. He did not have magical, property, rather her faith in him had healed her. So then a woman is seeing that she could not go unnoticed. Now she came trembling, and she felt, because see, that's kind of embarrassed for a woman. She's bleeding like that. It's like she was unclean. And then Jesus had all the disciples around him. So, so she didn't want to just stand up there and be blowing that out. So she bowed down to his feet. And she talked to him and told him everything. So she fell at his feet in the presence of all the people. Now she told why she had touched him and how she had been instantly healed. So now she hoping that he will be diverted from her taking any notice of her action. So through the crowd of people about him, it give him the glory of the cure of this woman, and say thank you for it. So he this woman here, it was a blessing. It was a blessing that Jesus came in her neighborhood, So then he had said to her daughter, You know, your faith had healed you. Go in peace. Now he calling her daughter. Now it's the first time we heard Jesus calling somebody daughter. You know, he said, your faith had healed you. You know, so he said, you go in peace. Go in peace. You know, keep the faith. You know, so Jesus had let her know that her faith is the reason that she is here. That's why they say you got to have a strong faith. You know, that just let me, I got a strong faith. You know, keep on standing. You know, Jesus said your faith is the reason why you are here. And she don't realize she was here before she even touched Jesus. You know, so her to be thankful for the body healing. But as she moved towards it, you know, she would have eager enter into a peace that he had come to impart to all of those who trust in him. You know, so she trusts in Jesus. You know, she had faith that was so strong. She trusts in Jesus, and that's why her faith had worked it so good. You know, because God always said, "I need you to trust me completely, in order for your faith and miracles and everything to work." Her faith had worked it so good because she trusts Jesus. Remember, she was rehearsing. She was rehearsing for a long time. You know, so this story is by a woman had an issue of blood for 12 years. Now she went to every doctor, you know, but still no one could find out what's wrong with her. You know, no one could find out what was wrong with this woman. You know, so she had a strong faith, you know, which took action, and she spoke words. She spoke words only if I could touch the hem of his clothes. And she don't realize those powerful words that she spoke, she was healed before she even touched Jesus. You know, so I will be healed. And she didn't bow her head, you know. So she didn't bow her head. You know, she had faith that she was healed. Now she had encounter with Jesus, a personal. Now she realized that she couldn't get help nowhere else. You know, she realized after 12 years, I'm going here and I'm going there. You know, nobody can tell me what's wrong with me. You know, so it's like she realized she couldn't go nowhere else. You know, nobody but Jesus. You know, so she realized she had to hunt Jesus down. Now, she couldn't get help nowhere. You know, uh, one day she heard that Jesus was coming in town. You know, and she went through the crowd. Now, she went through the crowd too. She went through the crowd to touch Jesus. You know, she got tired of this. You know, I'm dealing with this for 12 years, and you mean tell me I'm going to all these doctors, and the doctors wasn't free. She had to be paying for all that. You know, and nobody can tell me what's wrong. You know, so the words are powerful because God has spoke words and created the world. You know, so there was a crowd in the disciples, but it didn't stop her. It did not stop her. You know, she had a faith that was so strong that led her to Jesus and give her the confidence to touch Jesus. You know, that was all she needed. All she needed was to touch Jesus. Now, she didn't know that she released powerful words before she had touched Jesus. Now, her faith had released to God healing. You know, if I only can touch the cord of his clothes. Now, she was healed with just a touch. You know, so that's a woman that was bleeding for 12 years. You know, bleeding for 12 years. Went to every doctor. Nobody could tell her. But they had a doctor was coming in town. There was a doctor was coming in town. And she had to walk over there with all through the crowd. She didn't care if they had the disciples around her. You know, she was going to not stop. She was not stopping. She was going to get through that crowd. She heard a doctor was coming in town. And that doctor was Jesus. And she rehearsed in her mind, you know, only if I can touch his clothes. And she said it over and over, that she can be healed. And sure enough, when she touched them clothes, she was healed because she spoke the powerful words. You know, so and that's what we all have to do. You know, and sometimes It may take longer because there's different situation that's is going on, but we all can speak those words. We can speak words. That I'm still hanging on in there, but I'm not where I'm supposed to be at. But I'm gonna keep speaking those words until I get there. And that's how we have to do. We got to be like this woman here. She was rehearsing in her mind. Only if I could touch the hem of his clothes. Only if I could touch the hem of his clothes. Now she rehearsed that in her mind over and over. And I know she wished she could have saw Jesus earlier. That she was running dry on her finance because she was spending money on here and there and all these doctors. Until she heard about the doctor was coming in time. And all she had to do was speak those words and just touch. You know, everything, the blood and everything had to start drying up. Drying up. And that's how we can do. Life can be falling apart and everything. And all we got to do is speak those powerful words. And everything is just start drying on up. You know, it was just drying on up after she had touched Jesus. So that's all the word I have for you today. We had talked about the update on Israel. You know, Israel defense, IDF, his defense. Ambush. Some of them got killed. But they still gonna keep trying to rescue these houses. You know, and so we gonna try to get all these houses. I'm gonna keep on praying. They come out safe and alive. And we're gonna try to make sure this don't happen again. We're gonna have all kind of security by the border. You know, and so we need monitoring cameras also. In case the security don't catch the camera catch everything. So that's all the word in the news that I have for you tonight. Y'all have a blessed, safe night, and I see y'all in the next video.